Hello, mic check. Awesome. Give me a moment. We will be starting very shortly. Mm. Cool. Hello, everyone. I'll let the timer keep running. And yeah, while we are working on this presentation and what will be a live discussion kind of video, I will suggest keep putting in the comments, keep asking questions, and let's begin. So, hi everyone, I am Anubhav, and you are in the first episode of you know me coding live. So, I'm a software developer. I code, and I try to code live. And the program name is Aaiye Anubhav Kijiye, which essentially means let's experience. And the topic for today is how to center a divide. Right? How to center a divide is probably the most searched question on the internet by developers. Anyone who has been in web development, you have probably asked this question at some point to Google, how to center a divide. And that is what we are going to discuss today. The four of us will try to come up with something, and hopefully we will be able to center a divide today. Uh, with four people bringing their minds together. And today we have some guests. Today we have three guests with me. The names are written in the YouTube description. But then let me introduce them to you. And okay, yeah. So, yeah, folks who are with me today, let me add them to the stream. We have Randrita Sarkar, Sagnik Mitra, and Gourav Ghoshal. So let me add them in no particular order, including me, your host. So hello, folks. And
Hi, hi.
Hello.
people are wondering if I screwed up their names and designations. I did not. I have the right one here. So hopefully this introduces them in the correct order and with the right details. Right. And just saying, all through this stream, we will have something which is called a disclaimer running that information which is presented might not be 100% true. Please check the facts before you use anything generated by this particular video. So yeah, that said, how many of you have tried using ChatGPT to find out the answer to the question, how to center a divide? I see there's Abhay who is saying that we are late. Yes, Abhay, very sorry we are late, but then we'll hopefully finish this 2 minutes after the scheduled time, if that helps. Right? Cool. And yeah, just gonna be very casual in this, right? Let's keep it very friendly. Let's keep it very open. And anyone who wants to ask questions, put in comments. If you put something funny in the comments, I will put it on the screen. And let's just try to have a conversation while we try to figure out how to center a divide. Right? I think yeah, that might be a good idea. Right? So yes, we started late, and yes, let's go. Thumbnail coverage. Thank you, Abhay. Thank you for the compliment. Uh, we also have someone saying hello, Guruji, Sagnik and Gaurav. I think he is referring to you. You guys can figure out. And Gaurav Ghoshal twice. Oh, I did miss out the name of Sagnik, it seems. Let me. Whoop. No, not thank you yet. We'll go to the thank you later on. But then Gaurav Ghoshal. Yes, sorry, I screwed up the name there. It's Sagnik, and I'll let Sagnik introduce himself.
Hey, hi folks, I'm Sagnik Mitra. So basically, I'm also like trying to figure out how to center a div, and beside that, I'm building a event and community called Hack for Bengal, and beside that, I'm a software engineer at a random company. So yeah, and also it's the same, trying to figure out how to center a div.
Awesome, awesome. And that said, I have actually fixed his name. Now it's Sagnik Mitra. Yes. While he was speaking, I quickly changed the content. How smart is that? Okay. Next up, I think going in no particular order, let's have Randrita introducing herself.
Hey folks, I'm Randrita. I'm a graphic designer. I know how to center a div in a graphics manner, but I am excited to learn how to do that using coding today. Let's figure this out together.
Awesome, awesome. Welcome to the party, Randita. And yes, finally, let's have an introduction from Gaurav.
Hi, folks. I'm currently a front-end engineer at Dynopii, and I am here to tell you when not to center it. So yeah.
Yeah, that is a fine disclaimer. We are not going to center a divide. Although I will try to center a divide while these three folks have questions for each other, questions for me, probably taking questions from the audience as well. We'll try to answer every question possible in the most candid manner. Probably you can ask us anything. It's not just going to be about how to center a divide. Rather, it's more like we are going to have a conversation, the four of us, while I try to center a divide, and at the same time we will also try to explore any kind of topics that come into our mind in the next 1 hour. And it could be anything. It could be technology. It may not be technology, right? Maybe you need some new year goals advice not related to technology. That might be fine as well. And any question is good. Let's keep it funny. Let's keep it open, and let's keep it very very interactive. And Rishiraj says masti hoga, and I totally agree. Masti to hogi hi, right? Because see, I'll tell you the backstory of how we came up with this. So there's a group of around 90 people. These 90 people were volunteers for Google GDG Cloud Kolkata in the largest tech event that happened in 2023 in India. And these 90 people are super active, right? They keep spamming the WhatsApp group every day with like 300 messages. And the spamming usually starts at this time. So we decided, we can put that spamming to some good use by getting these people to come on air and actually talk about topics that make sense. And there's actually a lot of knowledge thrown around in that group, right? People give each other a lot of life advice and also technical advice. And we decided to put that out to the public for the world to see what we do in that group. And yeah, if you want to be a part of that group, that might be slightly tricky. You will have to come volunteer with the GDZ Cloud Kolkata community, or else the TensorFlow user group Kolkata. And that is the only way that you can get entry to that group, right? Hey, Ashok is here. Hi Ashok, thank you for making time. uh, yeah, interesting would be to learn how many ways we should not center the divide. Definitely. Yeah, developers on a Friday, how to center a divide. Yes, we are not doing beers, but we are going to show you how high we can go, uh, or how center we can go actually with a divide, right? So, yeah. That said, I think we can start the main part of this show, which is centering the divide, right? Let me quickly share my screen. This is a code pen, and let me give it a nice, cool name. How to center divide, right? So this is going to be our code pen, and we are going to have divide id is equal to container, right? And we'll probably put some content, centered content, and we are going to close this divide, right? So this side, it is not yet centered. We have not even started trying to center it so far. And yeah, while we are at it, I will like to start inviting questions from you all. And if any of you have any doubt, if any of you have any thought which comes to your mind during the next 1 hour, just put it in the chat. We'll try to answer it. We'll try to come up with something, right? And while we are doing so, I think Randhira, I have a question for you, right? The question is, you, like, when I asked you for your designation to put for this video's description, you gave me like three different designations with three different companies in three different domains, right?
Yeah.
So what is actually your designation?
Very confusing question. Even I'm confused to tell. Basically, I love to work and what's my designation? Yeah, it's pretty much interesting question and people often got confused like exactly what I do. Basically, I love tech. I love tech from my heart and yeah, from childhood, no, not sorry, From college level, I started exploring machine learning. So through that, I worked as a data scientist in a company from 9 to 5, and from after 6 I am free. So from 6 to 9 I got consultancy on graphics as a graphics specialist, and post that time I have the complete night to work. So I work for a company where I'm a founder. That's it. So
So,
that's my whole day plan.
yeah, do you want to tell us about those companies as well, like what you do there and what you guys are building?
Definitely. So if I move from Go to Growth, so Go to Growth has been founded by me with one of my partner, business partner, who is a very good ghost writer. So yeah, he basically handles all the writing part with a big team of 10 members. Apart from that, I do take care of the clients and the design and graphics part of it, as well as marketing. Now the next company over there at Dadject, I do take care of, the graphics of the company. Basically, it's a product company, so I have to take care of their product type of graphics, not UX and UI, but the graphics which represents the product.
Hey, look, I centered the divide, and I think I
In
did that in a very smart manner. I use the center tag on HTML, right? So this is one of the ways to center a divide, and yeah, but this is not a great idea, right? Why is this not a great idea? Can anyone tell me in the chat, or any of you, if you have come around with this center tag? Anyone who is learning HTML recently, you might have seen the center tag in your HTML books if you are following the coursework of Indian education curriculum, right? So the center tag, right? Not a great idea. Any of you want to talk about that? No? Gaurav, what is your idea about this? Gaurav has frozen. Has Gaurav frozen? Yes, Gaurav
yes.
has.
I'm that guy who faces internet issues every time. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's me.
keep smiling, no worries. Sagnik, do you want to talk about the center tag by any chance? Nice
Yeah,
idea.
so basically the center tag, as much as I remember, like this is not widely used, and I guess this was deprecated also in the latest versions. So like mostly, so I use like through CSS. Gourav got shocked actually. Through CSS only, yeah. So this I don't have much idea why this is not used, but as much as I remember, this is deprecated. I guess in the recent versions of HTML.
Okay, okay, okay. Rishiraj is saying HTML5 में नहीं चलता. What do you think this HTML is? This HTML is HTML5. Don't worry.
Is this
See,
some kind of responsive issue?
sorry, sorry.
Uh, Center tag does not work properly with responsiveness. If I can recall properly.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yes, and Krishnendu has said the same thing. Maybe it's deprecated in HTML5. The idea is that center tag is actually deprecated, right? If you go on Google and just search for is center tag deprecated, then Google will tell you with a very smart answer that yes, center tag is deprecated in HTML4, and it's not supported anymore, right? So W3 docs will also tell you the same. Center tag is deprecated and not supported in HTML5. Instead, use CSS text align property, which is applied to the divide element or the P. Text align center, they're telling us to use text align center, right? So let me try using this. Let me try using text align center. By the way, how many of you started web development before HTML5 was launched by any chance? I know Ashok did. Ashok did it maybe when it was like HTML3 or HTML4. Anyone else in the house who did web development before uh, HTML5 came in? By any chance, anyone in the audience? Let me try doing this. Let me remove center because this is deprecated. And let me try doing text align center. Does it work? Does it work? Yes, it works. Uh, Very weird. Why does it work? Yeah, this should not have worked, right?
No, actually, it should.
Why does it work? Can anyone tell me?
Are we allowed to tell? Oh, we are allowed.
Yeah, Rishi says he
So
started it in HTML3 and he left it in HTML3 in school days. Nice. Rishi has a very nice DP. It's not perfectly circle. If you look at it from a proper designer's view, it's not perfectly circle. It's like a oval, and it's giving me sort of OCD. Yeah. Me started with backend rather than front end. Krishnendra started with backend. Content is center, not the divide. Very good. Yes. So people who know HTML4 also know these answers. Content is centered, not the divide. Uh, but here's the thing. Uh, by default, this divide is supposed to take up the entire width because it's a display block, right? And we can prove that. Let me show you. Yeah, one very interesting thing, right? If you're working with HTML web pages and you're working with CSS, things are not aligning. A very good idea is to actually put a border on all your elements, right? And the quickest way of doing that is by doing this, right? So you do a wildcard and you do a border 1 pixel solid red, right? And this tells you a couple of things. There is more than one element on the page, right? If you see it nicely, there's more than one element on this page. Actually, let me try to change the view. Yeah, this might be better to understand, right? So there is actually more than one element on the page. What is the other element? Can anyone tell me what is the other element? Anyone in the chat? Yeah, and while people are answering that, I have a question for Sagnik, who has turned off his camera. And question is, what is Odessa and how to land a job there, right? I think people in the chat might want to know this.
Yeah. Basically, like Odessa is a US lease finance company. Like they work on preparing a product where we develop things like quotations, payment amounts, like different kind of lease and credit applications and all. So I basically work as a .NET developer. So all the front end product. So we have a product called Partner Portal. So on that particular product I work, and yeah, so landing a job is like basic. They they're mostly focused on like oops concepts. Like yeah, so in my interview also I was shocked. Like DSA was maybe 5% and oops was 80%. They went till shallow copy, deep copy also. Somehow I remembered all those. So yeah, so it's basically focused on like the whole .NET and Windows application. Not sure why, but yeah. So,
.NET and
so .NET, so basically like the work is bit of interesting thing. So they don't directly write, let's say the CS code, the C sharp code. So they write in XAML, and then we have a table template. So that generates the C sharp code from that XAML. So we write a structure of the code, and the main particular code is getting developed from the table template. So
wow,
it is getting worked through NuGet and all. Yeah. So
wow, this is like really cool. You just write XML and it
yeah,
converts
yeah, yeah. XML and it gets converted to CS.
gets converted to C sharp. Wow.
C sharp, yeah.
This is really cool. You should probably discuss the architecture
Yeah,
of works someday.
yeah, yeah. Sure.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah. So a couple of people gave the right answer in the chat. Ashok obviously has it right. Ashok will definitely always have it right. And Krishnendu has it right. I think Krishnendu is lying about starting with backend. So we might have to investigate on that. But yes, the answer is body, right? The body is getting that additional border which you are seeing here, right? And what does this tell us? That by default the container is all the divide class elements, they are all they're all in the full width of the visible viewport, right? And for some reason Mars says canvas. I'm not sure how canvas is related in this conversation. uh, so maybe Mars, you can explain the idea behind saying canvas. right? And let me remove this banner very quickly, and let me change this a little bit, right? What if this is not a divide, but rather it's some other element, right? Say for example, span. What will happen then? And let's take a look. And it loses the centering, right? It immediately loses the centering. So we need to remember that this centering with the container text align center, this is only possible if the entire divide is by itself 100% width, right? And if your element is not of 100% width, it will reduce. So right now if you see these borders, so this is actually the length of container right now, right? So container is only this much wide, as much content it has been entered into that. But if we change it, right, if we change the width to say 100 vw, and once we do that, I'm hoping that things will change. If they do not, then very sorry, because I'm just running this uh, in the wild. Yeah. At the same time, let me try increasing the length of this to 100 VW. And does that change? No, it does not. So how can we do it with with just this amount of code without using text align? Because text align is definitely not working. Let me see if I can do margin uh, auto. Will this work? Will this work? No, it will not. So how do we how do we center the span? How do we center an element which is by itself not occupying the full width of the screen? Any ideas, people in the chat or developers here? Gaurav, you are a front end engineer, right? What is your take on this?
Basically, span creates what we call a display of inline. So that does not have a very good interaction with some properties like margin, padding, etc. etc. So that's
Hmm.
why maybe if we change the display, that will work wonders.
Whoop, let me try to change the display to block. And oh wait,
Text align center.
align, send. Wow, this guy knows his stuff, and yeah, he did it. So I have a question for you. I have a question for you, Gaurav. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah, what are you working on these days? Because I see a lot of posts coming out from you that you have built this, you have built that. What are you working on these days?
Right now, I'm focusing on three particular things. One is my office work. Second is I'm studying for an upcoming exam, which I really don't want to give, but Indian parents, let's not. So the third thing is ki I am trying to upskill myself regularly by integrating new things, learning new things. Recently, I built a Gemini AI powered app. Next time, looking to delve into some deeper front end concepts like indexed DB is on my list. I was reading a few blogs about it and I will hopefully pursue it. So these things are going on right now.
Uh-huh. Awesome, awesome. And tell us a bit about your company.
All right. So I work at a company called Dynopii. Dynopii specializes in AI tools. Currently, the main and in focus product is Colchimp AI. Colchimp AI is an AI or a automated dialer where you can, use Gen AI to replace everyone in a call center company. Did I just
including
take away a lot of jobs?
including the finance department.
Yeah, you can say that. Funnily enough, I would like to point something. On my on-campus placements, I was given a certain company. They were apparently looking for someone in the SD, but then at the last moment, due to mass recruitment, they are shifting people to customer support. I left that company, so yeah, now I am replacing, not replacing, I'm kind of helping in replacing their entire sector. So yeah,
Wow, that is one
mind you,
revenge
that's
story.
cool.
That is the most IT focused revenge story. Uh, he was removed from a company and now he wants to replace that entire company. Very nice. Very nice. This is how you do it. Right. So, anyone else in the chat who has a very nice revenge story of how you took on your ex-employers? Uh, by the way, Himanshu says that promotion का एक भी chance नहीं miss करने का, and that is so right. Uh, yeah. By the way, I am also working on Callchim.ai. And if you are interested, then please go ahead and try it out. Although the purpose of this particular conversation is not promoting callsim.ai, but then what can we do? We are associated. There is nothing else, but then, yeah, this is definitely the right thing to say. Revenge 100. Uh, yeah, while Gaurav was talking, I did a very interesting thing, right? I increased the height of this box to 100 VH, which basically means the entire height of the viewport, right? So VH stands for viewport height, and this is the viewport, right? From like whatever is visible to you on the screen right now, that is the VH, and I increased the size of this particular container to 100 VH, uh, but then the content did not center, and you know I took their access to GitHub because they didn't pay for a month. Wow. Like confessions. You do know that this is a recorded live. Anyway, I think Krishnendra says Flexbox FS. I don't understand what FS is, but I know Flexbox. So let us go and try out Flexbox and see if that works here. And I'm not very good at Flexbox. Fair disclaimer: I'm not a front end engineer, and I Google things. I copy stuff from GitHub and Stack Overflow. That is why I might make mistakes, and you will have to guide me through this, right? So let me try doing this. Display block. Will display remain block? I think display changes, right? Uh, Display flex, and what else do we do? Align. Wait, height is this much. Wait, I think this is like align items center. Text align center is not working now, that I can see. The moment I change this from block to flex, text align center stopped working. Right? Just to go back on that, you can see that when I have display block, works. But the moment I change this to flex, text align center stops working. Very interesting observation. I think I want to figure out why this happens. But later on, for now, let's go to align item center and let me remove text align. And the height is 100 VH, but our box is not centering. What can we do now?
Yeah, we can just justify the content for Flipbox. Like justify content center.
Justify content.
Center. Yeah.
Justify content center. Is this? Oh, it works.
Yeah.
Yes, very smart. So height 100 VH. Oh, by the way, what will happen if I put the height on the body instead, right? Instead of the container, it still works. Very interesting. Why does it still work?
That is actually on the wildcard, so it applies to everything, the body and as well as the
Oh,
container.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
the this thing, right? Awesome. So what like all of you probably have at some point worked with this CSS thing, right? What is the most interesting story you have about this, by any chance? Yes, these people got it right. Justify content center. Yeah, anyone have a very nightmarish story about not being able to center a divide or anything which is about CSS?
Yes, I have one. Like I was working on the season one website of Hack for Bengal, and like I took a template and I was editing it. Then I had a simple task of like putting a logo, and that was a very weird logo. Like, I can't explain how weird it was. So that logo was on the left. It was maybe let's say 100, and the right side was totally 20. So it was a torchlight kind of a logo, and I put that logo, and if I justify the item to the center, it was coming to the center, but visually it was not in the center. Visually it was looking like no, it is not in the center. So then that translate and transpose, so that concept I learned then. Okay, like we can translate the items by 50% or something and then make it visually center. So then I learned the concept about like the design parity, like or how much on the left it is, the weight is there, and how much on the right. So that was a nightmare. I did center, but it was in the center, but visually it was, everyone was telling no, ये center में नहीं है, ठीक करो.
Very interesting. CSS Translate, right? How many of you know about CSS Translate? Let me quickly Google this because I forgot this. It's been a while since I used Translate, and what it says is it changes the position of an element, and all you need to do is translate this way, right? So let me try centering our divide using Translate instead of all this fancy code, right? And yeah, let's see if we can do this, right? Translate 100 pixel to 100 pixel. Does it work? Why does it not work? Let me go back to the documentation. Translate property defines blah blah blah, and show me a demo. Let's take a demo of this, right? Whoop, I don't want to take a demo. Very interesting. Why am I not able to use Translate to center this? Can anyone let me know in the comments? I've used CSS Translate before, but I don't remember it anymore now.
I generally use the transform translate to use the percentage notation.
Very interesting.
Yeah,
Transform and then
translate, then translate. Yeah,
okay.
and then within bracket the percentage, like how much from the top, how much from the left.
How is this different?
Yeah.
This way? It still does not work, right?
No. So translate, then not colon, like translate within the function minus, let's say minus 50%, minus 50% we can give. So
Like
transform,
this?
no, transform colon, translate,
Doesn't work.
transform colon place translate. Yeah, then post translate, you don't need to give
Do
a
you think
colon.
we need
Like,
to change the positioning of this because because it's translate, so
yeah.
we have
Then
to
we
do
can make it, yeah,
something fixed.
fixed or absolute. Yeah,
And let's
anything
say
is fixed.
left 50% and top
Top
50%.
50%. Huh.
Yeah, I think now it is working something like that, right? And
Yeah.
let's see what happens without translate. Without translate, the content is still looking centered, but it is not centered. For those
Yeah.
of you who are good at OCD things, you can see that from the left it has a distance of 50%, but from the right it does not have a distance of 50%, right? So if we probably reduce this to 45, maybe we will get a more centered thing. But this is not perfectly centered, right? There's an issue. Randrita, how much does it bother you to know that this is probably 99% centered?
I felt it is. I felt the left would be 38, 38. Keep the, yeah, I felt it has to be.
Arunava is saying, wasn't really making a website, but in H4B season 1, I was making an app on Android Studio. How many of you make apps on Android Studio anymore? Everyone is doing Flutter now. We were making a
I did in Android Studio once.
we were making a quiz as a part of the app, and I just couldn't seem to center the question boxes. What was the final result of this, Arunima? Maybe you can send us the link and we can display it on the screen. What you finally created at the end of the day. Sagnik, do you have a link to this because you were a part of the Hack for Bengal team?
Yeah. Anyway, do you have the project name? Do you remember the project name? Then I can find it out.
Uh huh. Awesome. So, yeah, this is not perfectly centered. There is a way to center this, right? There is a way to center this perfectly. And so here's the thing, right? How does translate work? Translate works on the box, right? On this box. And when you say translate, XYZ, then it actually changes the position of that box from the center, right? From the center of this box, right? Let me zoom this in. Oh, I can't. So the idea is that from here, right, somewhere near this D, and then somewhere around the vertical center line, right, from there it works at 0 0 of this box, and the translate actually works that way, right? So let us try to translate it, right? And if left and top is 50%, and if we probably change this translate to minus 50% and minus 50%, will we achieve? Uh, yeah, maybe I need to put a comma here. No, no, still does not work.
You actually need to remove the parentheses and the comma.
Do I need to remove the parentheses? Let me check. Let me remove the parentheses and the comma. Oh, oh, that was right. He is definitely the right person for his role. Yes, this is right. So this is just another way of translating, like using translate for centering the divide, right? And I think we covered a bunch of these. We covered the A is old center tag, and then we did align items. Then we also did we also did text align, and we also did flexbox, and finally we did a translate. Very interesting. Uh, what other methods are there? Are there any other methods that are coming to your
Yeah,
mind?
there.
Yes,
Great, I
yes.
guess. Great, I
Yeah.
guess.
Okay, what is grid? Yeah, you will have to guide me through this because I have not tried grid before. I know grid; it is there in Bootstrap and a bunch of other CSS frameworks.
Yeah,
But is it there in plain CSS?
Yeah.
grid box is there. Yeah.
Yeah.
All you
It
need
is.
to do is change the display from flex to grid.
I need to change the display from flex to grid. Very interesting.
Mhm.
So I need to remove the position.
Yeah, you can remove the entire code that you've written, comment it out.
Okay, okay. Let's remove this entire code. And you're telling me that I need to change the display to
Grid.
Group.
grid. Okay, let's do that. Display grid done. And then let me remove these as
Uh,
well.
Now there are two methods to approach this. Okay,
Okay.
either you can manually do horizontal centering and vertical centering, or there's a syntax. I forget if it is actually true. Uh, Place items center. It's either place items center or it is place content center,
Place item
not
center. Yeah.
place item center.
Place item center. Yeah.
Place item center. Okay, let me try that. Place items center. Is this how it works? Oh, it went to the center. But then how do you center it vertically?
Adjust you need to increase the height, I guess, of the container.
Height of the container. Interesting. Let me increase the height of this container. Height 100 VH. Oh, it works. Very smart. Nice. This is another way. Okay, so we covered what, 5 ways? Oh, I got Arunima's project as well, and this is the project which Arunima shared and built at Hack for Bengal. Footprinty is a carbon footprint tracking app.
Nice.
Very interesting. Okay, Arunima was the team member. Devdatta was a team member, and Supravasaka. Is this hosted somewhere? Is this somewhere we can see right now? No, there's a GitHub.
Couldn't, yeah. Couldn't find any like hosted links.
No worries, no worries. So this was actually centering on Android Studio, I believe, right? So how do you do centering on Android Studio, Arunima? I've never used Android Studio. I have no clue how things are there. How do you
XML.
center things there?
What
XML? Do you have any examples of this?
mm, at XML you can write such code like center things, and you can do centering over there as well at XML.
Oh, we are not able to see the red heart-shaped face, but I'm able to see it in the chat. Thank you, Arnav. Big heart to you. Yes, there you go. Oh no, I put 100. Oh, this is fun. I did not know there are emojis in YouTube chat now. Great. Yeah. So this was probably, I think, everything that we had to show you about how to center a divide. I think we covered like 4 or 5 different methods. And for those of you who missed the other methods, you can just scroll back in the video and see those. This said, I think I have a question to each one of you, and I would like you to answer them one by one. The question is. if someone is starting off with web development today, right, in the date where you have all these generative AI apps which can be used to generate entire front ends, file by file, what would you suggest someone who is starting off with front end to focus on, and how to approach uh, picking up these technologies which can be very easily replicated by a machine? Take your time, think about it. Meanwhile, I'll display this message. The simple answer is no.
No.
And Rishia says focus on Gen AI. Obviously, Rishia, this is your domain. You will always talk about Gen AI.
There's something in web development that people often disregard it or take it for, हाँ, easy है, हो जाएगा, web का क्या ही है. And then I've also heard people like web, वो तो second semester में करके छोड़ भी दिया था. So here's something, some takeaways from my journey, from my learnings. When I started web development, it was plain HTML, as per the guidance of some of my seniors, plain HTML followed by CSS. But then when I delved deeper into the topic, when I finally, started teaching it myself, I realized there's a lot of things that people don't actually know. For example, I can guarantee 50% of people in colleges, maybe in the third semester, fourth semester, who claim they know web development, don't even know how a website is rendered on a browser. What is the critical rendering path? What is the total blocking time? They don't know how CSS files are passed, JavaScript files are passed, or even HTML is passed. So I think these are some of the few important topics that people need to understand. Yeah, of course. With Gen AI coming up, tools coming up, people can always render out full front-end files, pages, fine enough. But what if when they need to change something? What if something breaks? What if something does not work? We cannot go on keeping, prompting again and again and again till we get a correct answer. Maybe our credits will run out, maybe our money will run out, or maybe our patience will run out. So finally, we need someone to actually fix the code, right? So if people use these tools without having a proper knowledge what is going on, then it's a lost loss. But yeah, if you have a good understanding and you're using these generative tools to generate files, I guess then you are making a wise decision and making your job faster.
That's a very nice answer. So I think the way you are wanting to say it is that people, if they do not really understand how front end works, how websites work, and at the same time, how this code works together, right? All the generated code which is coming out of LLMs, if one does not know how to put them together and how to optimize it later, right? It's not going to work at the end of the day, and that is why you need to know better about front end. Okay, what's your take on this, Randrita? Are you like no?
Yeah, my take, like I'm telling you my experience over here, because I started learning web development as well with machine learning, but in the mid I stopped learning web. There's a reason behind this, because when I started working, I always try to grab projects, and I don't know, max of the clients wants to fix with CMS, because they don't want things from scratch. So they personally requested me, you don't need to code, you just go to WordPress, Wix, or Squarespace, or Webflow, and just get the work done in 2 days. So it was my story. So I am good with all CMS. So this is the reason I stopped doing web dev from second year onwards. Otherwise I was learning React at that time, and right now if you ask me question from JavaScript, I will be like, oh, what is this? So it's a story. But yeah, if you ask me this question, should you learn, obviously you can learn if you have, like, you really want to, if you really love to build stuffs, then go ahead. But if you think कि नहीं, मुझे बहुत अर्ली इनकम चाहिए, या फिर मुझे बहुत अर्ली अर्ली बहुत कुछ करना है, तो दिस इज नॉट योर पाथ.
Interesting. So if you want to make money in this world, then go for the frameworks which can generate websites for you, and then connect a CMS to it.
Actually, not. It's not the correct answer. Like, partially, yes. Suppose you are a freelancer, it's very difficult in a beginning stage. You will get the direct React project at the third year. It's very difficult as a freelancer, but you can directly get it through WordPress or Wix. People gonna trust you. But in React, you need to hustle a bit. Means you need to wait for that golden period. Maybe for 2.5 or 2 years of experience is needed for that.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
that's,
So if you want to start quickly, just go for the established names and
yeah,
get things working together.
yeah. Like I want to earn money in a month, then go ahead with the frameworks. But if you can hustle a bit and you love building, then please go ahead with React and Next nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Very nice, very nice. What is your idea on this, Sadnik? And before that, I think Rishi has something to say, right? He says that Gen AI writes Python better than any one of us can, and I believe that is uh, pretty true. I have tried generating Python using generative AI, and in most of the cases, it's like way better than what we can do in that amount of time, right? You can just send it a erroneous program with like pseudo code written on it, and you can just say, right, generate the code for this, and get it to do the code. Pretty smart way, and at the same time a bit scary because it can do it, but it does not replace us. Yes, very right. We know how to stitch it all together to make a big software, right? Yet, anyway, Sagnik.
Exactly, seconding to that, I was starting with that only because like Gen AI can generate the code, but it can't stitch together all the parts that needs to create a whole website because that thought process and that cumulative way is still with us. The Gen AI can still not do it, and like also like I completely agree with Gaurav. Like in my second year also, when I was starting to learn HTML CSS, I learned from a basic code with Harry video. That was a very good video, and I just ramped through it in 2x speed, and I thought, yeah, I'm god of HTML. And then very next month someone asked me, do you know how a website is rendered? Do you know how the CSS and JSS are working? And I was completely blank. I didn't know any of the answers. So then I understood like HTML, CSS is not the first stage. The first stage is understanding how a website works, how a domain name system works, how the internet is working. Like after understanding all this, we can start learning to HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and there's so many resources that are available. But yeah, but I personally prefer project-based learning. Like while building something, we get to know much more. Like while working on issues, the issues we face, like abhi to it is very easy to get through chat gpt, but yeah, through stack overflow and all, it's like I think that is the best way of learning. Once you face an issue and then you fix it, then you get the whole path clear, like how from the very first to very end. So yeah, so exactly the same thing, like gen ai is there, but it doesn't replace us. Yeah,
Mhm.
we know how to put it together.
Awesome. I think that's a great answer, right? So yes, the future is not very dark for front-end engineers. Rather, I think it's way more interesting now because you can get all the code generated, but then how do you make it better? How do you make it faster? How do you make it work, professionally? Because whatever code the LLMs are generating are definitely not ready for professional websites, at least as of today, and hopefully they will be in the future. But for now, I think front-end engineers are pretty safe. At the same time, I think one of the most important things which I've realized about generative AI is that it's not creative, right? You can only get it as much creative as people already have been on the internet, and I think there's no limit to humans' creativity, right? And there's a question at the current market: should I go for front end or back end or full stack? Samirip, I think, yeah. Before passing this question to others, I'll give an answer to this. That go for whatever makes you feel like you can work 24/7 without feeling that you're working on something, because I'm pretty sure like some of us here are more inclined towards back end code, some of us are more inclined towards front end code, and some of us are inclined towards no code, right? So whatever is very very comfortable to you, whatever does not feel like a burden, go for that. What is your experience with this, Gaurav to Bhagya? So Sagnik.
Yeah, so like my main thing is do whatever you want, but just one thing I tell everyone, like do your job, don't let the job do you. Like choose such things where you think, yeah, you are learning something, you are doing something. Don't let it be like, ah, yeah, I have to do this and I should have done something else. So don't let that happen. Like it can be front end, it can be back end, it can be full stack. Yeah, full stack is a bit of both, and front end is back end is more focused. But yeah, you get to work on everything. It is not that front end people 99% work on front end. Like when we work on back end, sometimes we also need to check the code on the front end why it is breaking from the back end, and the vice versa. So yeah, I think anything, while what you are good at and what your ikigai is, that will fit for you.
Hmm. What about you, Gaurav? Like, because you are a front end engineer, what is your thought on this? Front end only?
For the past almost 1.5 to 2 years since my beginning of learning web development, I have been completely focused on front end. I tried going to backend, it did not suit me that well. মানে, to be very honest, even till the later half of 2022, I did not really know how to set up a Express server. So yeah, there was that. But at the same time, there I was working on React.js at that time, within I guess 6 months maybe of learning. So yeah, that was the thing. Right now, yeah, I am more inclined towards front end, but that does not mean that I won't know how to, debug a backend code if time needs to be there. And but then again, it also comes down to how basic you understand, how clear are your basics, and how well you understand code. I am a complete JavaScript guy. I have learned Python just up to class 11 level, but then there I was debugging one of my friend's code, which was written completely in Django. So I was there helping him out in a meet, telling him क्या इसमें issue हो सकता है उसमें issue हो सकता है. So that also comes down कि how clear your basics are. तो ये भी दिमाग में रखना is very important. Go for front end, back end, whatever suits you. But in the end, if you are a full stack engineer, तुमको ही benefit.
Randrita is like full stack in that one.
Not actually. Basically, I'm telling you my story. This is even more interesting. People, as I know graphics from the very beginning of my college life, so everyone was like, graphics, you should pursue front end development. Front end is your future. You can do it. मतलब you can do कुछ भी at front end चले जाओ. So through that I started learning front end, but honestly speaking I never liked it. Even I don't like it even now. So it's very complex for me, that css, I don't like it personally. I prefer backend over front end because I prefer building things on Python. Be very frank. So किसी का सच नहीं हुआ, मैं ग्राफिक डिजाइनर हूँ इसका मतलब ये नहीं मुझसे बहुत अच्छा फ्रंट एंड बनेगा. तो the major funda is whatever you feel that yes I can excel over here, go ahead with it. Try both, but just try both for 1 week maybe, and then see that what gives you more happiness and you feel much confident, yeah ये मुझसे बन जाएगा, and then focus more on it at least for 2 to 3 months.
Hmm. Okay, I want to show a few interesting things at this point. So back in 2012, I had launched my own website, and that was a social network and a search engine and a bit of other things, right? And it was like among the top 1,000 most visited websites of India in 2012. And somewhere this was the website which I have built, like front end, back end, everything was done by me, and this is how it looked. And trust me, this is how it looked at that time. Right? Let me add it to the screen. Ta-da! Right? So you can see like some amazing front end skills here. Right? It's shifting to one side and then stuff. Right? So does not matter. This was one of the top 1,000 visited websites in India in 2012. Right? So if you have a great product, front end will at some point take a slight step back, right? Just remember this: if you have a great product, front end will be pushed back just one step at times, right? Take a look at Amazon. Not the best UI in the world, right? They don't have the shiniest, glossiest UI, but they have things working and it works, it's functional, and it's smartly designed. I won't say it's like very beautiful, but it's designed in the way that it should be, right? You just expect things to be there, right? You know that the menu is probably on the top left, account settings is probably on the top right, not the most visually pleasing, but then yes, it works, and the backend is amazing, right? Great service, and that's why probably people love Amazon. So there you go. Uh, probably learn everything, but build a great product and do what suits you, right? I hated front end, but then I had no one else to help me with it. So I did a lot of backend, but then I also learned front end because what was needed to keep the business growing. But that's never my primary focus, right? And the result is visible on this screen. Great. So that said, I think we can take off this and we can take off this. And finally, I can say that thank you everyone for your time, for everyone who attended and put in some great comments. I really like that. And at the same time, uh, yeah, we will probably get back next Friday if possible, and if not, it could be any other day of the week. It's more like I wake up in the morning and I think, okay, let's do a session today, and that is how we did the session today, in fact. And hopefully, I'll see you all very soon. There is a question from Sagnik. I have one serious question. Who made the thumbnail? It's really awesome. Uh, Not a question. Today morning, I came across a TPU connected via USB called Google Coral. Looked interesting. I have no idea what Google Coral is. So let me very quickly take a look at Google Coral. I think Rishaz might know a bit more about this. There's probably something which does machine learning on device. Uh, Very interesting. So these boards from very small to bigger boards and probably ML on the edge. Yeah, bunch of basic algorithms. There's bunch of pre-compiled models, and you can probably create your own as well. Build your own model for the edge TPU. Very nice. Yeah, you can probably go ahead and check this out. Thank you, Sagnik, for sharing this. I think this is a great resource. Cool. So wait, did I not share the screen while doing that? Yes, here we are. Right, and this is what I was looking at, Coral.ai, and these are the boards which I mentioned just now, and these are the algorithms which I mentioned. You can run and you can build your own. There is a product by Google. So thank you, and let me remove this from the screen now. Great. Coral is hot. So that is what Rishaz has to add to the conversation. Coral is hot. I am not sure because coral is found in the sea and it's likely to be cold. Uh, so I'm not sure why is it hot. But yes, thank you, Sagnik. And yes, to answer your question, who came up with the thumbnail? This thumbnail was the initial idea was inspired by Sagnik, and that is why we decided to get Sagnik on the screen today so that he can smile to everyone while I tell the world that the title Aaiye Anubhav Kijiye was his idea. Although it's very important to note it's Aaiye comma, so need to remember that. And at the same time, the thumbnail was kind of a mixture between his genius and my genius. So thank you, Sagnik. Yes, Arunima said it was quite an Anubhav. Somebody has one last question. For backend, what should I choose, Python or Node Express? It depends on your use case, right? If you're dealing with data intensive uh, operations, probably Python will do you better. But if like working with real time and least amount of time taken kind of stuff, Node might help you better. And if you need to keep things very lightweight. Uh, but then, yes, both of these languages have been used for almost insane scale of applications in production. So either should be good for you, whichever is more comfortable. Yeah, background, but yeah, we all had the same background because StreamYard gives this. So thank you all. Thank you for joining, and this is us for today. And I think I'll bring back my screen to for one last thing, which is basically saying, how do I do this? I have no clue. Yeah. So yes, let me come to the screen, and yes, now I need to show this thank you, which was shown at like 2 minutes into this session, right? So this is supposed to be shown now. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye. Yes, things do the job, don't let job you. Coral is hot, and there is a comma after Chaliye. Now there is no Chaliye. It's Aaiye, comma Anubhav Kijiye. Cool. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, and hopefully, we'll probably get some of you as well on this meet, like on this meet, chat, discussion, code, whatever you call it. So, thank you. Bye bye. Good night. And let me end this with going back to the first screen. Whoop. Nope. 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 Yes. Let me remove people and end the stream.